Ever feel like you're stuck? Like repeating the same mistakes again and again?
Oh, yeah.
Well, get this. Today, we're diving deep into how those patterns might actually be, like echoes of the past,
How?
passed down through generations. Crazy, right?
That's wild.
We're going to figure out how to break free and finally create a life that's truly, truly ours.
I love that.
So what's so powerful about today's source material is that it goes way beyond, all the clinical definitions of generational trauma.
Right.
It actually brings it to life through this one person's super personal journey.
Yeah, and they actually use this really interesting metaphor,
Right.
a just chillin' mug,
Yeah.
to represent a turning point in their healing process.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
But before we get all like mug crazy,
Yeah.
we should break down what generational trauma actually is.
Right, because it's more than just the big dramatic events we might think of.
Exactly. It's like the subtle, almost invisible things, that get passed down. Unspoken rules, ways of thinking, even coping mechanisms. Think of it this way.
Okay.
Like, if your parents grew up during a time of scarcity,
Uh-huh.
they might unconsciously pass on that fear of lack, even if you've never experienced it yourself.
So you kind of inherit a lens through which you view the world.
Yes.
Because even if it doesn't match your own reality.
Precisely. And that lens, it can shape everything.
Wow.
Relationships, careers, your self-worth, everything.
Our source material really digs into this through the author's own experience.
Yeah.
Can you give us a little bit about their story and how they had that aha moment, where they realized they were living out these inherited patterns?
Sure. So the author describes feeling stuck in this, cycle of self-sabotage.
Oh, I know that feeling.
Constantly attracting bad relationships, struggling financially, even though they were outwardly successful.
It's like unconsciously recreating familiar patterns, even when those patterns aren't serving you.
Yes. And get this, the aha moment came from something so ordinary.
What was it?
Sipping tea
Seriously?
from their favorite mug.
No way.
Sounds strange, but in that moment of quiet reflection, they realized, wait a minute, these anxieties,
Yeah.
they weren't entirely their own.
Oh, wow.
They were like echoes of their parents' fears and struggles.
So a simple mug was like a catalyst
There really was.
to this profound shift in perspective.
And that's where the just chilling mug comes in.
Okay, so the mug.
After that realization, they started using the mug daily as this reminder to just pause, breathe, and choose a different path.
Like a symbol.
Exactly. A symbol of their commitment to breaking free from those inherited patterns.
I am so intrigued by this mug.
Me too.
But before we get too deep into the mug,
Yeah.
can you tell us more about what the author learned about this, actual process of healing? Because it's not always a straight line, right?
Absolutely not.
No.
One of the biggest takeaways is that healing is messy and nonlinear. There will be setbacks, moments of doubt, times when you feel like you're going backward.
Yeah. 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Exactly.
I think that's important for our listeners to hear because it's easy to get discouraged. When progress isn't immediate or consistent?
It is.
Yeah.
The author also stresses the importance of having a support system.
Oh, okay.
A therapist, a group, even just friends.
Yeah.
People who get it.
Right. People who understand what you're going through.
Healing can feel isolating, so that connection, it's crucial.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And they talk about the importance of mindset shifts, particularly embracing something called an abundance mindset. Can you explain what that is and why it's so important in this context?
A lot of generational trauma is rooted in scarcity, the belief that there's not enough.
Not enough love, not enough money.
Exactly, not enough success to go around. And this mindset often gets passed down, creating fear and competition.
So instead of seeing the world as this pie that everyone's fighting over,
Right.
you start to see it as like a feast.
Yes, where everyone can have their fill.
I love that.
It's about shifting your focus from what you lack to what's possible.
Okay.
It's about believing that you are worthy.
Worthy of receiving all the good things life has to offer.
Yes.
That sounds amazing, but I imagine it's hard to actually make that shift, especially if you've grown up, with that scarcity mindset ingrained in you.
It's not easy.
What are some ways that our listeners can start to cultivate this abundance mindset?
Pay attention to your self-talk.
Okay.
Notice the messages you're sending yourself.
Negative, positive.
Are they rooted in fear? Or are they full of possibility?
And once you're aware of those negative thought patterns.
You challenge them.
Okay.
Replace them with affirmations that reflect abundance.
So it's like retraining your brain
Exactly.
to focus on the positive.
And another tip, surround yourself with people who embody an abundance mindset. People who are supportive. Their energy, it's contagious.
Those are some really great concrete steps
Yeah.
that listeners can start taking right away. I want to circle back, though, to the just chilling mug.
Of course.
It seems to play such a significant role in the author's journey.
Yeah, it does.
Can you tell us a bit more about how this simple object became such a powerful symbol for them?
Well, like I mentioned, it started as a reminder to pause and reflect, to choose a different path. But it evolved into something much deeper.
Okay.
A ritual.
A ritual.
A moment of self-care.
Self-care.
Intentional connection with themselves.
That's amazing.
It is.
It's fascinating how everyday objects can take on deep meaning when we give them that intention. Did the author ever explain why they chose a mug? Was there something about drinking tea that felt grounding or calming to them?
You know, it's interesting you asked that.
Yeah.
The author doesn't go into detail about the tea itself, but they do talk about how making and drinking tea was a ritual.
Okay.
Passed down from their grandmother.
Oh, wow.
It was a way to slow down, connect with the moment, and find peace.
Even amidst the chaos of life. So it was like a form of meditation.
Exactly.
A way to quiet the mind.
And I think that's what resonated with people.
Yeah.
It's not about the mug itself. It's about creating those moments.
Creating those moments.
Of intentional pause in our lives.
Yeah.
In whatever form they may take.
Right.
Yeah.
It's about finding rituals that work for us.
Yes.
Those things that ground us and help us reconnect.
Exactly.
Reconnect with our inner peace.
And the author encourages readers to find their own just chilling mug.
Really?
Yeah. Their own symbol or ritual that represents their commitment to healing and self-care.
Now, before we move on, I gotta ask. You mentioned this mug got so popular that the author created a line of merchandise around it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what?
It's amazing how this simple concept just took off.
Tell me more.
They started selling these mugs with just chilling on them.
Yeah.
And a portion of the proceeds goes to mental health organizations.
Oh, that's so awesome.
It is.
It's such a great way to spread the message and support such a worthy cause.
And it speaks to the power of sharing our stories.
Right?
And connecting with others on a similar path.
Absolutely. So we've talked a lot about the author's experience, but I want to bring this back to our listeners.
Okay, yeah.
Sometimes it can feel overwhelming, to even think about addressing generational trauma.
Yeah.
Where do you even start? What's the first step?
The first step is acknowledging that it exists.
Okay.
Understanding that the patterns and beliefs we inherit can have a profound impact.
Even if we're not consciously aware of them. So it's about becoming a detective in your own life.
Yes, exactly.
Looking for those recurring themes and asking yourself, where did this come from?
Start paying attention.
To the challenges.
Yes, the relationships, the beliefs you hold.
And if you start to identify those patterns, what then?
Explore them.
Explore them.
With curiosity and compassion. It's not about blame. It's about understanding, the circumstances that shaped their lives and, in turn, shaped yours.
And that can be a very emotional process,
Yeah.
especially if those patterns, are connected to painful experiences or trauma.
Approach this work with gentleness.
Okay.
Self-care.
So it's about that balance.
Yes.
Of acknowledging the pain of the past, but embracing the possibility of healing.
And remember, you don't have to do this alone. A therapist, a support group, it can all be so helpful.
We talked earlier about shifting to that abundance mindset.
Right.
But how do you actually do that? How do you go from there's never enough to I am worthy?
It's a process.
Okay.
And it starts with awareness. Notice your thoughts and beliefs.
Okay.
About scarcity. What messages did you receive growing up? About money, success, love.
I think a lot of us absorb those messages without even realizing it. They become part of our subconscious.
Exactly. Once you're aware of those beliefs, you can start to challenge them.
Is this really true?
Is there truly a limited supply?
Or is this just a belief that I inherited?
Right. Yeah.
Are there any practical things our listeners can do?
Yes. Start practicing gratitude.
Okay.
Take time to appreciate the good things.
No matter how small.
This shifts your focus from what you lack to what you have.
So it's about training your mind to see the abundance that's already there.
Yes. And take action. Set goals that align with your vision.
Okay.
And take small steps. Every single day.
It's about believing you're worthy and then making it happen.
Don't be afraid to ask for help. Surround yourself with supportive people.
So community plays a huge role in this.
Huge. Having that support system can make all the difference.
You mentioned healing isn't linear,
Mm-hmm.
that there will be setbacks.
There will be.
What can listeners do to, navigate those difficult moments?
Practice self-compassion.
Okay.
Healing takes time.
Right.
It's okay to have moments of doubt.
Frustration, anger.
Don't beat yourself up. Acknowledge those feelings.
Okay.
And then gently guide yourself back to self-love.
So treat yourself with kindness and understanding.
Yes. Like you would a close friend. And remember your why.
My why.
Why did you start this journey?
Right.
What are you hoping to heal or achieve?
Keeping that bigger picture in mind, even when it's tough.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about the emotional and mental aspects, but are there physical practices that can support this process?
There are. Yoga, meditation, nature.
Being out in nature.
All incredibly grounding.
And help to release that tension.
Trauma often manifests physically, so address those symptoms.
So it's about taking a holistic approach.
Exactly.
Mind, body, and spirit.
And speaking of holistic approaches,
Yeah.
forgiveness.
Oh, that's a big one. And probably one of the most challenging parts.
It can be.
Especially if you're dealing with, hurt or betrayal.
Remember, forgiveness is not about condoning actions.
Okay.
It's about freeing yourself.
From the anger.
The resentment, the pain. It's about choosing to let go, so the past doesn't have power over you anymore.
I think a lot of people misunderstand forgiveness.
They do.
They think it means, what happened was okay. Or that you have to, reconcile.
Right. Forgiveness is personal. It can take many forms.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a conversation or just a quiet release.
Mm-hmm.
There's no right or wrong way.
Is there a connection between forgiveness and, the abundance mindset?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
When you hold on to anger, you block abundance.
Oh.
You create this energetic barrier that stops you from receiving good things.
So forgiveness is like clearing a path
Yeah.
for abundance to flow in.
Releasing negativity and opening yourself up.
To all the good stuff.
Love, joy, prosperity.
Before we wrap up this part,
Yeah.
I want to touch on the idea of legacy. We mentioned that healing generational trauma isn't just about us. It's about breaking the cycle.
Right. For future generations. This is where it gets really inspiring.
Okay.
When we heal ourselves, we're creating a new legacy.
For our children, grandchildren.
It's like rewriting the family story.
Yeah. By healing our wounds, shifting those patterns, we create a healthier lineage for those who come after us.
You're planting seeds of healing that will blossom for generations.
That's such a powerful thought. It makes you realize that healing isn't just personal.
Right.
It's a gift to the future.
Gift.
For someone listening to this, maybe feeling a bit overwhelmed, what advice would you give them?
What can they do today?
Today, to start exploring these ideas.
Pay attention to your self-talk,
Okay.
the language you use, especially when facing challenges.
Okay.
Are you being kind to yourself
Oh.
or critical?
Because we are our own worst critics.
We are.
We would never talk to a friend that way.
And those negative thoughts, they come from limiting beliefs we've inherited.
Huh.
So next time you think I'm not good enough,
Yeah.
stop and ask yourself, where did that come from?
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it even true? Or is it just an echo of the past?
I love that. Those negative thoughts are like whispers from generations past,
Whispers from generations past.
trying to keep you small and stuck. Once you're aware, you can challenge them.
Yeah.
Replace them with more empowering beliefs, like affirmations.
Oh, can you give us an example of an affirmation someone could use, to combat a scarcity mindset?
Absolutely. If you worry about money, try, I am open to abundance flowing into my life in countless ways.
Oh, I like that one.
Or, I am worthy of love, joy, and success simply because I exist.
It's replacing those old beliefs.
With new, empowering truths. And the more you repeat them, the more you rewire your brain.
So it's not just thinking positive.
No.
It's about actually changing your brain.
It takes time and effort, but it's worth it.
Because when you change your beliefs, you change your reality.
You do.
That's perfect. I think that's a great place to end this part of our deep dive. We've covered so much.
Well, yeah.
Understanding generational trauma,
Yes.
finding tools for healing, creating a more abundant life.
Abundance.
Is there anything else you'd like to leave our listeners with?
Just remember, you have the power to choose.
The power to choose.
You can stay stuck
Mm-hmm.
or break free
Create a new story.
for yourself and for generations to come.
It's a journey,
It is.
but it's a journey worth taking. And hey, if you're looking for a tangible reminder,
Oh, yeah.
maybe just chilling mug might be just the thing.
Could be fun.
Right. A moment to pause, reflect,
Reconnect.
reconnect with your inner peace.
Inner peace.
All right, deep divers, that's it for today. I hope you found this deep dive insightful,
Insightful, empowering.
empowering. Remember, healing is possible.
Possible.
And you have the strength to break free from the past
Yes, you do.
and create a life that is truly yours.
Truly yours.
Yeah.
Until next time,
Happy healing.
happy healing.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting you asked that? The author doesn't go into detail about the tea itself,
Okay.
but they do talk about how making and drinking tea, it was a ritual
Oh, wow.
passed down from their grandmother.
Really?
Yeah, it was a way to slow down,
Mhm.
connect with the moment,
Uh-huh.
and find peace, you know.
Right. Even amidst the chaos.
Exactly. And I think that's what resonated with people.
Yeah.
It's not about the mug itself.
Right.
It's about creating those moments
Those moments.
of intentional pause in our lives, you know, whatever
Yeah.
form they take.
Right. It's about finding those rituals that work for us.
Yeah.
Those things that ground us and help us reconnect.
Mhm.
Reconnect with our inner peace.
Exactly. And the author encourages readers to find their own just chillin' mug,
Oh,
their
really?
own personal symbol or ritual
Okay.
that represents that commitment to healing and self-care.
Now, before we move on, I have to ask,
Okay.
you mentioned earlier this mug got so popular that the author actually created a line of merchandise around it.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing how this simple concept took off.
No way. Tell me more.
They started selling mugs with just chillin' on them.
Oh, wow.
And a portion of the proceeds goes to mental health organizations.
That's incredible. What a great way to, like, spread the message and support a good cause.
It really is. And it
Mhm.
speaks to the power of sharing our stories
Yeah.
and connecting with others who are on a similar journey.
Absolutely. So we've talked a lot about the author's personal experience,
Yeah.
but I want to bring this back to our listeners.
Okay.
You know, sometimes it can feel overwhelming to even begin to think about addressing generational trauma.
Yeah, it can.
Where do you even start?
Right.
Like, what is the first step?
Well, the first step is simply acknowledging that it exists.
Okay.
It's understanding that the patterns and beliefs we inherit from our families can have a profound impact on our lives.
Even if we're not consciously aware of them.
Even if we're not, yeah.
So it's about becoming a detective in your own life.
Yes, exactly.
Like looking for those recurring themes and asking yourself, where did this come from?
Exactly. Start paying attention to the challenges you face, the relationships you attract, the beliefs you hold about yourself and the world.
Okay, and once you start to identify those patterns, what's next?
Well, from there, it's about exploring those patterns.
Okay.
But with curiosity and compassion.
Yeah.
It's not about blaming your family
Right.
or getting stuck in the past.
Okay.
It's about understanding the context, the circumstances that shaped their lives.
And in turn, shaped yours.
Exactly.
I imagine this can be a very emotional process,
It absolutely can be.
especially if those patterns are connected to, painful experiences or unresolved trauma.
That's why it's so important to approach this work with gentleness and self-care.
Okay.
Don't try to force anything. Allow yourself to feel the emotions that come up,
Okay.
but also create space for joy, for celebrating the progress you make,
Right.
for finding those moments of peace and stillness.
So it's about finding that balance
Yes.
between acknowledging the pain of the past and embracing the possibility of healing.
Precisely. And remember, you don't have to do this alone.
Okay.
Seeking support from a therapist or a support group can be so helpful in navigating these complex emotions and developing healthy coping mechanisms.
Now, we talked earlier about the importance of shifting to an abundance mindset.
Yes.
But how do you actually do that? How do you go from feeling like there's never enough to believing that you are worthy of receiving all the good things life has to offer?
It's a process, and it starts with awareness.
Okay.
Begin by noticing your thoughts and beliefs around scarcity.
Okay.
What messages did you receive growing up about money, success, love?
Okay.
Were you taught that these things were limited, that you had to fight for your share?
I think a lot of us absorb those messages without even realizing it.
Right. They become part of our subconscious programming.
Yeah, it's like ingrained in us.
Exactly. And once you become aware of those beliefs, you can start to challenge them.
Okay.
Ask yourself, is this really true? Is there truly a limited supply of love, abundance, success? Or is this just a belief I inherited?
Okay, so then what?
And what are some practical things listeners can do to start shifting those beliefs and cultivating a more abundant mindset?
I like that. Yeah. What can we do?
One powerful technique is to practice gratitude.
Okay, gratitude.
Take time each day to appreciate the good things in your life, no matter how small they may seem.
Yeah.
This helps shift your focus from what you lack to what you already have, which is often much more than you realize.
Okay, so it's about training your mind to see the abundance that already exists.
Yes. And it's also about taking action.
Okay.
Start setting goals that align with your vision of an abundant life, and take small steps each day to move towards them.
Yeah, it's about believing that you are worthy of those goals.
Exactly.
And then taking the steps to make them a reality.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to ask for help along the way. Surround yourself with people who support your growth and who believe in your potential.
So it sounds like community plays a really important role in this process.
It does. Having a support system, whether it's friends, family, or a therapist, can make all the difference in navigating the challenges of healing generational trauma and creating a life of abundance.
Now, you mentioned earlier that healing isn't linear,
Right.
that there will be setbacks along the way. What are some things listeners can do to navigate those difficult moments and stay committed to their healing journey?
One of the most important things is to practice self-compassion.
Okay, self-compassion.
Remember that healing takes time, and it's okay to have moments of doubt, frustration, or even anger.
Right.
Don't beat yourself up for those feelings. Acknowledge them, allow yourself to feel them,
Yeah.
and then gently guide yourself back to a place of self-love and acceptance.
So it's about treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to, like, a close friend who is going through a difficult time.
Exactly. And it's also about remembering your why.
My why.
Why did you embark on this journey in the first place?
Right.
What is it that you're hoping to heal or achieve?
Okay.
Connecting back to your purpose can be incredibly motivating, especially when you're feeling discouraged.
It's about keeping that bigger picture in mind, even when you're struggling with the day-to-day.
Absolutely.
Now, we've talked a lot about the emotional and mental aspects of healing generational trauma, but are there any physical practices that can support this process?
There are many.
Like what?
Practices like yoga, meditation, and spending time in nature
Oh, being out in nature.
can be incredibly grounding and help release stored tension in the body.
Okay.
Trauma often manifests physically, so it's important to address those physical symptoms as well.
So it's about taking a holistic approach.
Exactly.
Addressing the mind, body, and spirit.
And speaking of holistic approaches, one of the most powerful tools for healing generational trauma is forgiveness.
Ooh, forgiveness. That's a big one.
It is.
And I imagine it can be one of the most challenging aspects of this process.
Absolutely.
Especially if the trauma you're addressing involves, deep hurt or betrayal.
It absolutely can be. And it's important to remember that forgiveness is not about condoning the actions of those who hurt you.
Right.
It's about freeing yourself from the anger, resentment, and pain that you're carrying. It's about choosing to release the past so that it no longer has power over healing.
I think a lot of people misunderstand forgiveness.
I think so, too.
They think it means saying that what happened was okay.
Right.
Or that they have to reconcile with the person who hurt them. But that's not necessarily the case.
You're right. Forgiveness is a personal journey, and it can take many forms.
Okay.
It might involve a conversation with the person who hurt you, or it might simply involve a quiet release of anger and resentment within your own heart.
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong way to do it.
And is there a connection between forgiveness and, cultivating an abundance mindset?
Absolutely. When we hold on to anger and resentment, we're essentially blocking the flow of abundance in our lives.
Interesting.
We're creating an energetic barrier that prevents us from receiving the good things that are available to us.
So forgiveness is almost like clearing a path.
Yes.
For abundance to flow into our lives.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
It's about releasing that negativity.
Yes.
That's holding us back and opening ourselves up to receive love, joy, prosperity.
Exactly.
Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Yeah.
I want to touch on the idea of legacy, because we mentioned earlier that healing generational trauma isn't just about us as individuals.
Right.
It's also about breaking those cycles for future generations.
Exactly. And this is where it gets truly inspiring.
Okay.
When we heal ourselves, we're not just transforming our own lives.
Right?
We're creating a new legacy for our children and grandchildren.
So it's like we have the power to rewrite the story of our family.
In a way, yeah.
By healing our own wounds, shifting our patterns. We're breaking the cycle of trauma and creating a healthier, more empowered lineage for those who come after us.
You got it.
That's a powerful thought. It's almost like we're planting seeds of healing.
Yeah.
That will continue to blossom for generations to come.
Exactly. And it's a reminder that our actions today have a ripple effect that extends far beyond our own lifetimes.
Yeah, it really makes you realize that healing isn't just a personal journey. It's a gift we give to the future.
It is.
But I'm curious, like, for someone listening right now, maybe feeling a little overwhelmed, what's one piece of advice they can take away from all this? What's something they can do, like, today to start exploring these ideas?
I think one of the simplest yet most powerful things you can do is pay attention to your self-talk.
Oh, okay. Self-talk.
Notice the language you use when you're talking to yourself, especially when you're facing challenges. Are you being kind, compassionate, understanding?
Yeah.
Or are you being, critical, judgmental, harsh?
Yeah, because so often we are our own worst critics. We would never talk to a friend the way we sometimes talk to ourselves.
Exactly. And those negative thought patterns, they often stem from those limiting beliefs we've inherited.
From our families.
So the next time you catch yourself thinking, I'm not good enough, or I'll never be able to do that, stop.
Okay.
Ask yourself, where did this belief come from? Is it really true?
Or is it just an echo of the past?
I love that. It's like those negative thoughts are whispers from generations past.
Whispers from generations past.
Trying to keep you small.
Yeah.
Keep you stuck. And once you're aware of those whispers, you can challenge them. You can replace them.
With what?
With more empowering beliefs. Affirmations are great for this.
Can you give an example of an affirmation, like one that someone could use to, combat a scarcity mindset?
Sure. If you find yourself constantly worrying about money, try repeating, I am open and receptive to abundance flowing into my life.
Okay.
In countless ways.
I like that one.
Or if you struggle with self-worth, you might say, I am worthy of love, joy, and success simply because I exist.
It's about replacing those old limiting beliefs with new empowering truths.
Yes, and the more you repeat those affirmations, the more you rewire your brain.
Wow. So it's not just about, like, thinking positive thoughts. It's about actually changing how our brains are wired.
Exactly. And that takes time and effort,
Yeah.
but it is so worth it. Because when you change your beliefs, you change your reality.
That is a perfect note to end on. We have covered so much ground today. Understanding generational trauma, finding tools for healing, creating a more abundant life.
It's been quite a journey.
Is there anything else you'd like to leave our listeners with before we sign off?
Just this.
Yeah.
Remember that you have the power to choose. You can choose to stay stuck in the patterns of the past, or you can choose to break free. Create a new story for yourself.
And for generations to come.
Exactly.
It's a journey, but it's a journey worth taking. And hey, if you're looking for a tangible reminder of that journey, perhaps a just chilling mug might be just the thing.
It's a good one.
Right. A moment to pause, reflect, and reconnect with your inner peace.
I love that.
Well, deep divers, we've reached the end of our exploration for today. I hope you found this deep dive insightful and empowering. Remember, healing is possible. You have the strength within you to break free from the chains of the past and create a life that is truly yours.
Until next time, happy healing.
Happy healing.